Well, the school year's over, exams are done for most, so all this will go away. I'm not talking about now, I'm talking about what they used to say back in 1968 when the school year was ending for a lot of colleges and universities, and they thought a lot of the anti-war protests at the time would also ease up. Actually, they doubled down, and it extended all the way to the Democratic Convention that year, and we all know how that went out. Ray Kelly is the former NYPD commissioner, the Guardian Group CEO. Ray, is history repeating itself?
It certainly looks that way. I don't see this ending anytime soon. It looks like some of these events are well funded. We know that the Students for Justice in Palestine is doing just that. They are the coalescing factor, I believe. This organization has been in existence for 30 years, and they've been ejected from certain college campuses. I know Governor DeSantis just ejected them from Florida schools. But they are a presence, they are a force, and I think they should be investigated, certainly by a federal agency.
What would you do to handle it, Brad? I mean, and you're quite right. History shows 1968 is the most dramatic example, but when protests start, they spread. They don't go away. Protests breed more protests. But this would have to keep going for another couple of months to bring it to the Democratic Convention. But now we're hearing talk of a hybrid-type convention for Democrats. I don't know if that's, taking things to the next leap here, but what do you make of all of it?
Well, I think to a certain extent, funding is an issue, and money is coming in. As I said, SJP and other organizations, they're well funded. They're getting money from overseas and from Soros-type organizations. And I think it's a conspiracy. I think it raises to the level of a criminal conspiracy because they're committing crimes as a result of this conspiracy. So I don't see it ending, certainly not before the conventions. They have been administrations have gone along with them. So it looks to them like they're winning. It's an effective tool in their minds, and I think it's going to go on. And of course, it has an impact on policing throughout the country. This is taking resources away from the police. They're not doing their normal jobs. They're standing around these college campuses. In New York City, Columbia has asked the New York City Police Department to remain on campus. So it has a sort of a rippling effect that I think we're all going to feel in some way.
I would just put it on the record, Ray, and you might agree or disagree with it, that this Politico report that traces some of this to George Soros funding has been disputed. Washington Post and others have checked into this. The Soros folks say they are not funding this. The issue of indirect money, that could be out there, and you're quite right. We got to look at these outside sources. But the bigger issue now is how police respond. You talk in some cases where they do, and other cases where they hold back. And I've talked to many, I think last time we chatted, who say, well, the school year is about over and then exams are about done, so this will all go away. But they tend to move, right, and to bigger locales. I think at 68, after a lot of the New York area schools like Columbia and all those had shut down, they went to Central Park, for example. How would you advise authorities in terms of keeping a unified approach to this?
Well, I mean, the police are going to be involved. Ideally, you'd have some communication with the demonstrators. You'd have some intelligence information as to what's going on. You check the internet. You may even have undercover officers that are involved in some of these demonstrations. Obviously, not to impact on free speech, but to identify criminal behavior. So I think this is going to be a long haul for police departments, varying throughout the country. Some campuses are more active, some cities are more active than others. But as far as policing is concerned, it's going to be a major investment of resources that it's going to go on for quite a while, in my opinion.
All right, Commissioner, we'll watch closely. Thank you very much for your service to this fine city and elsewhere. Ray Kelly, the former NYPD Commissioner.
I'm Steve Doocy.
I'm Brian Kilmeade.
And I'm Ainsley Earhart. And click here to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page to catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis.